My name is Andrew Bice. I spent the last 8 years riding a swell as a special warfare combatant crewman. I've had moments where I felt like I've been riding on tops of waves, and others where I feel pinned to the ocean floor under the whitewash. I've held many titles in my life: son, husband, father, operator. Join me as I venture into a whole new role, this time as a civvy. Welcome to Civvies. All right, welcome to Civvies. I got a very special guest with me, Jordan Hebenstreit. We had a brief conversation, and when I dug into what he's doing now in his past, I knew he was someone I had to talk to, reach out with, and I'm very excited, looking forward to it. And Jordan, it's a pleasure for you to be here and to see where this conversation goes, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, so I kind of start with who the person is, because I think you can tell so much about somebody by their journey and their experiences. Everyone has their own, but there's that common thread of what resonates with certain people. And I would definitely, let's start there with you. Let's kind of bring in, where you started and what that led to and how you got to Salvage.
Yeah, I started, I was a country boy in the middle of nowhere, Illinois. And
did you have a cowboy hat?
I did not have a cowboy hat. No cowboy hat, but grew up around firearms and really kind of was fascinated with, longer range, precision fire. And I saw a poster one day with a Marine Corps Scout Sniper on it, one of those old school posters. And I said, that's what I want to do. And day after high school, I joined the Marine Corps, and probably one of the best decisions I ever did.
Did you get any kickback or flack from the parents where they're like, I don't know?
They said, go.
They were ready.
Yeah. They said, there is nothing here for you. You need to go. I mean, unless you're okay with bale and hay for $5 an hour in July, you need to go. There's nothing here for you. So joined the Marine Corps. I was a reconnaissance Marine, and I went to sniper school in Quantico, passed. A lot of people say they're snipers, and it's like, oh yeah, what schoolhouse did you go to? They're like, oh, I shot expert on the rifle range.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, let's get real here.
Yeah. I love my job. I love being a recon Marine, and did a tour to Afghanistan, went on a MEU, and we were the anti-piracy element for the MEU. After that deployment, they sent me to Germany for a couple months, and I helped train the Georgian sniper platoons before they deployed to combat theater, which was kind of very interesting for me.
As far as switching from kind of the
was.
shooter piece to the teacher piece little bit?
It was. And I got to, because it was an Army base, so I never really, I guess, saw, the behind the scenes of how some of this stuff works, really. It's just like, hey, I need this and this, and they give it to you, and we go do our mission, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of, that was an interesting time for me, because I was getting ready to transition out of the Marine Corps. And that kind of, I guess, opened my eyes to seeing all the contractors that were there. I'm like, oh, I could do that. This seems cool. So got out of the Marine Corps. And
Jordan, what was the reason, man, for that? If you're willing to share that, what came to be festered as far as, hey, I'm going to transition out? And was that like a heavy conversation that you a constant battle with yourself? Should I, shouldn't I?
I had no choice. Okay. They kicked me out. According to Chesty Puller, I was a real Marine, because every real Marine gets in JP'd. And you know what? It's all good. Yeah. It was a speeding ticket on base, and that was it. They ninja punched me for it, and that was
someone's got to pay, and someone's got to set the example for everyone else.
Yep. And that's when the administration at the time was cut numbers and bad reenlistment code. You're done.
See ya.
And
wow.
You know what? I never even looked back.
Yeah. Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Make peace with it.
Yep.
On to the next one.
Yep. Got to move on.
Hell yeah.
And I, out of the Marine Corps, probably 3 or 4 weeks, I started working in Iraq.
This time as a contractor.
Yep. As a contractor. I was the, what was he? He was, I was on the Consulate General's security detail.
Okay. That was probably a good place to get your foot in the door.
It was.
And then, like you said, kind of see what's next, see what else is out there, even when you were going to the Army side to go train over there to see like, oh, there's a lot more to this giant beast. So there's a lot more out there that I wasn't even aware of. Yeah.
And it was I think a lot of people struggle with the whole community piece. Like when you get out, you're not part of the gun club anymore. And your buddies who are still in, they're, don't get your feelings hurt if they don't hang out with you anymore, because that's just the way that it is. But after that contract, Herat, the consulate in Afghanistan, got attacked. And so, they sent me over there, as a, designated defensive marksman. Mm-hmm. And then, so
from that, you're pretty much on a post or some specific place, and you're pretty much eyes.
Yeah. Overwatch. Yeah. And then if we had like the ambassador come and he wants to go tour with his family, the city, I would go advance with another sniper buddy of mine, and we would, set up opposing positions. But doing all of that stuff, I was still, kind of in the military, it seemed.
Yeah. You still got a gun. You're still in a hostile territory.
Yep. And
I think you're still chasing adrenaline a little bit too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there were some years where, we would get rocketed and mortared almost every day. It's certain sites that I was at. And
you probably become numb to it after a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whenever you transition into a new spot, it's like maybe the first, whatever, like a new job, whatever the heck it is, there's a transition point, and then whatever, couple days, a couple weeks, then all of a sudden it's just routine.
Yep. It was funny. There was a really good friend of mine, and we were shooting on a range one day, and this rocket, like we heard it, and that thing came ripping right over our heads. And the song Sharp Dressed Man?
Yeah, ZZ Top?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Like right when the beat drops to that rocket just came right over us and landed right behind us. And we were like, oh shit. Okay. Like
that just happened, man.
Yeah. Yeah. There were times when, oh man, this is like, I still need to keep this in mind. Like every time I hear something go off, I just stand there like, whatever. I probably should be going somewhere else and seeking cover. But like you said, you just kind of get numb to it and you don't care.
Right. Yeah. Isn't that crazy to think about? Like for like somebody who's never been in the military or whatever, never been into some crazy country. There's civilians who experience crazy stuff, right? Just going to third world countries or, where there's shootings all the time. You can go in places in America where there's shots all the time. But then you have that other piece where you have, a family who lives in suburbia, USA, never exposed to anything outside of their comfort zone in a sense. And then you have the complete opposite side where you and your buddy, you know what I mean? Or like,
listening to ZZ Top
as things go by. It's like, hey man, it is what it is.
Yeah. Experiences vary. I learned that from my wife. She played volleyball for Navy, and I joke around with her all the time whenever, she was, playing volleyball. I was sleeping underneath of a Humvee in goat shit, all that stuff. The experiences vary. I think that's why a lot of veterans getting out struggle with immersing themselves back into civilian life, because a lot of people, they just don't get it. They don't understand, and they never will. And so I think that's why, part of what we're doing with the nonprofit, it's so important to connect like-minded people, because then they can relate. And it's not just the vocational side of the house with them building things. That's our mechanism that we use to get them off the couch.
Yeah.
And out there, but working side by side with other people who have been there and done that. That's where that important connection is made.
Yeah. No, I think you hit it on the head as far as, no matter how many years you serve or what you did in the military, as soon as you're gone, like you said, like the machine keeps turning, right? And you're just watching it go by. And then it's like, well, now what? Like it's like a switch. It's coming. Like you're like, all right, I'll be fine. It'll be good. And then it hits you and you're like, okay, maybe this carries a little more weight than I thought.
Yeah, I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and they get upset because that machine does keep going. And it's like, you're not special. You might be, right? You might be able to do a couple extra things than everybody else, but you're just a number.
Yeah. And
a lot of people struggle with that. Like, well, no, I was the best of the best. I was tier 1.
Yeah. I went through this crazy selection process.
I jumped out of airplanes and ate people.
Yeah.
And now, like, it's continuing to go, well, I'm meaningless now.
Right.
Yeah. And then the guilt of getting out or retirement hits them, and it just spirals down.
Yeah. That's tough. That's something that's tough to kind of unbandage, because once you go, like you said, you have so much purpose, so much worth. You feel like, you're a god among men, right? Like you're the power you bring. It means something, whether to your buddies or whether to the civilians of some other country you're trying to help or protect. Like what a strong feeling of value. And then you get set into, depending on where you go, right? An office setting or, whatever it is, it's kind of like, how does this matter in the grand scheme of things? Like, yeah, there's probably some importance to it, but it's that purpose, I think, that kind of dwindles away a little bit, and you have to refine that, or, you know what I mean? Or re-justify it. Like, hey, you did something. It was awesome. Be glad and thankful for what you did.
Yep.
And now you have something too. You can keep doing something or find something that has purpose, just in a different way.
Yeah. I agree. A lot of guys, they want to get out. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to school. And I think that's great. And I think they're doing something to better themselves, but like they're around a bunch of 18-year-old kids who, how can I say this? Very PC, like they
just go.
It pisses me off, right? Because you have all these social things going on where everyone's complaining. Everyone wants to be exclusive. Everyone wants their own bathroom, and they're surrounded by all this petty bullshit. Yeah. And it literally, it drives them, like it drives them out, drives them away. 100%. And they're like, is this what the rest of the world is like? Like, I fought for this.
So you kind of lose your faith in humanity, just to some degree, a little bit.
Yeah. And these people are, kneeling during the national anthem and burning flags, and they're like, man, I don't want anything to do with this anymore. And then they go into isolation. Yeah. And then they end up killing themselves. Yeah. It's just, Yeah.
That kind of transitions into another piece as far as community, right? I've reached out to some guys, and I know my experiences are probably like so you know, it could be, I could have seen things way worse or been involved in something way more, whatever. But I've leaned on people, and people have reached out to me randomly, like the vet community. And I'm like, holy crap. Like,
it wasn't random.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a whole nother conversation we could have.
Don't do that, man. I just got goosebumps. But just to hear someone like reach out, like, I guess, you know, by design, right? By some higher design, divine intervention, if you will. Dude, but just to hear somebody talk and like laugh and relate to something real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to somebody I never met before, but I can bro down like that.
Yeah.
That does something. That does something to you.
We were friends in a previous life. Yeah. But again, totally different conversation for another day.
Let's do it. Let's go down here, man. Yeah, community is so important. And with Salvage, you kind of just hit on a piece as far as somebody gets out, they get a taste of what society is, or it's different from what they had in their head. You know what I mean? Like, hey, like something's off, something's wrong. I can't relate. I'm not going to be able to continue down this path in a good mindset. So I'm just going to cut it off. I'm going black. It's gone. Right. So boom, they flip the switch. Then they go to some random place. Now we can talk about coping with other mechanisms, whether it be drugs, alcohol, you know what I mean? So finding stuff maybe that isn't as healthy. Like, you know, for me, if I don't work out, like something like that, thankfully it's like I'm latched onto something good. I have a family too. So I can latch onto like a good habit. Right. But for those guys who are like, maybe reach for something a little darker or makes their path keep going in a downward spiral, that's when it gets tough. And that's, you know, hopefully you don't want to hear the stories of your buddy who did all this hard stuff, come back, and then they take their life. You don't want to hear that, because then that plays with you again. You know what I mean? Like, that's tough. That's heavy.
Yeah. I have lost over 20 friends to suicide and overdose since 2009. Yeah. And, you know, just going back to the whole, you know, getting shot at and rockets and all that, you become numb to it after a while. And some of them hurt worse than others, but I think it's getting better though. I think that we're really starting to, you know, hone in on what do these people really need, so they don't, you know, go down that rabbit hole. And that's where that whole community piece is really important. So that's.
Was there a specific event or maybe something that made the light bulb go off for you? Like, hey, I'm going to create this company, this nonprofit Salvage, and I'm just going to go out there and help as many people as I can, even if it's just one. Like that, you know what I mean? That feels good. When did that happen?
Yeah, it was my buddy Matt. He was in recon with me, and really phenomenal dude. Yeah, he's such a good dude. He got out and went back home, and he got involved in the wrong crowd. He started, you know, dabbling in, you know, the drugs, and he was found face down by his grandma one day. And my wife was down in Brazil at a planning conference, and I went down there with her. And my other friend, Jason, he calls me and says, Matt's gone. And that was really rough. I like to dive. Yeah. And, my wife, she said, you have your dive gear, just go somewhere for a few days. And, I got on a bus early that morning, and I just went north. Yeah, man. But I was diving, and when I dive, I don't I don't think about anything.
Do you think the world shuts off around you? Or are you able to turn off your brain or deal with what's in your brain? Like deal a little bit of both.
It just shuts off.
It does.
Yeah. And that's a good thing to have. I need that. It's not necessarily me. I find benefit in coping, like by other means. It's sometimes I just need my brain to shut off. But when I was diving, I was thinking about Matt the whole time.
Yeah.
And at his funeral. Sorry.
No, man.
Yeah. But at his funeral, I asked his mom, like, Susan, what happened? And she said, he didn't have you guys here.
Yeah.
And that was a huge kick in the nuts.
100%.
And that's why a bunch of us were like, we have to, keep our buddies in check, checking in.
Yeah.
And we need to come up with a mechanism to get them out of their house, like off the couch, away from their bottle, away from the pills, all that, and get them doing something with their hands. And then that's when, we can target them, and with the, veteran to veteran, camaraderie building and community building and focusing on stuff like that. So that was the tipping point of his passing. We're like, man, this is bad.
Yeah.
Because they're just, they're falling, like, they're just falling left and right.
Yeah.
I'll probably get a phone call within the next 3 or 4 weeks that another one's gone. But
I hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
Sadly.
But it's reality.
It's real.
It's reality. And I think that people who say, oh yeah, there's a veteran crisis, or even active duty as well. Oh, there's a crisis. You can say that all that you want, but what are you doing about it?
Yeah.
And it takes work. Like, it just takes work for me to hit up my buddies. Like, I literally have to put it in my calendar.
Yeah. Because
I'm just so busy. But when that alarm pops up, I call them right then and there.
Yeah.
And I have to do that. And sometimes I get a phone call, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they just shut everybody down. Oh, this person didn't talk to me after they got out. Well, it's a process.
Yeah.
And it takes time for people to open back up, and maybe they don't want to have anything to do with those past relationships in the military. That's fine. Let them go.
Yeah.
But let them know that you care about them and you'll always be there.
Yeah. No, man, that's great to hear. And, what you're doing, obviously there's a reason behind it, and it's actually having a positive impact, right? Hopefully you have a little better time sleeping at night, knowing you're trying to help. And then that's got to keep you going too, keep the machine being fed, the salvage machine, and the community growing.
Yep. Salvaging lives.
That's right.
Everyone on our board are volunteers, and that's one big aspect that I love about the organization, because people actually, they give a shit and they're willing to put in the time. And I also tell people, this organization isn't just for the veterans and for the Gold Star kids and some of the active duty folks that come through our programs. It's for us too, because we're helping others. And like you said, I do sleep great at night when I don't have a baby screaming.
That's a whole other conversation, man. That's a battle too.
But it's good for me.
Yeah. No, 100%. And then, you talk about different ways as far as like therapy, like kind of get yourself off the couch, right? So I know you mentioned diving. Like, what else is involved, or what else does Salvage offer that's more than that? Like, like you said, I know we had a conversation about like some guy, right? He spent all of his time in the water. Yeah. He's like, hell no, I'm not going back out there.
He probably doesn't want to. He probably doesn't want to go diving again. So our dive trips, those are one time to 2 times a year, depending on funding. And thankfully, one of our really big advocates is Santa Cruz. Rich Novak, he owns Santa Cruz, and he's a huge surf guy, skate guy, obviously.
Yeah.
And he really loves what we do. And so, he's, depending on where the market's at that time of the year,
everyone go by Santa Cruz immediately to help Jordan out.
Yeah. He's a great guy. But so once to twice a year, we will go down to Key West, and it's usually five days. It is at no charge to the service member, vet, or Gold Star kid, family member. And we bring our specialists down there. We have a mental health, a psych. She is fantastic. She helps me out and she puts up with me. We have neuromuscular therapy, addiction counseling, life coaching, even some financial coaching as well. And we really focus on the participant as a whole person, because it's not just a dive trip. It's trying to get them to realize, hey, you need to look at yourself too from all aspects of your life, whether it's family life, physical fitness, mental health, all of that matters. So we offer that. We also just started last fall, twice a year. We are partnering with another nonprofit out of Afton, Virginia, Hope's Equestrian Rescue. And that is a multi-day event as well. You help out at the farm. They work with local law enforcement, and they seize abused animals, and they take them back and rehabilitate them on the farm. So there's a special connection that a lot of service members have to these animals, because they've been through the ringer, and
it's almost like a reflection of themselves in some way.
Yeah.
And they can relate to that.
Yeah. We have that program. We also have surfboard building, skateboard building, and we do a little bit of blacksmith classes here and there, as well as group hunt trips, hog hunts, deer hunts. So those are some of the programs that we do offer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So there's such a wide array. You can almost, pick what's good for you, and you think you're going to get the most out of, versus like, hey,
and that's why
you're going to be forced into that. Good luck. I hope this trip makes you feel better. Where you're like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah. It's like the SDV guy.
Yeah.
We only provide diving. Yeah. And like, I don't want to ever go back in the water. Yeah. Well, you're going anyway.
Yeah. Too bad, man.
Sorry. And that's what we like, because on our website, on the registration platform, you can pick and choose something that interests you. And again, that's just the mechanism for getting them out of the house.
Yeah.
And then we do the rest on our end from there.
Yeah. What's cool to think about too is, let's say, whatever, I choose some random hobby, right? Like blacksmithing, all right, that sounds really interesting to me. Then I go do something with you guys. I kind of open up a little bit about it, ideally, right? I kind of start to find myself again. But then with that, maybe that little week-long trip is gone, but now I have a hobby that I can go and get involved in a community wherever I'm at. Yep. I can be in whatever, Wisconsin, crushing cheese curds. And then guess what? There's some blacksmith company down, or you know what I mean? There's another guy who just wants to go pound metal and feel medieval about it. And just, ding, ding, ding. I don't know. Exactly. That's what I have in my head.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. Also, I forgot to mention, whenever we approve the packet for the participant to do whatever they want to do, we put them into a secure group chat with other people who have done the same thing. So the surfboard building program, we've have I think 30, maybe 30 people in that chat. All of them have built a board through our program. And then, you know, whenever the tide is good, someone will say, hey, I'm going here at this time. And they meet up and they go surf together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
It's only going to keep growing and, you know, keep them getting out, like
yeah.
keep them going for it. Just keep them searching for something.
Yeah.
And maybe they start to look forward to it, you know, then they start to be the advocate. Hey, everyone, let's go. And then you got the new guy who just joined. He's like,
and then we win.
I will go.
That's when we win.
Yeah.
And that's when everything just falls into place. And there was a guy who was participating in a skateboard build, and he met someone at the shop who tinkered on motorcycles. Mm-hmm. And so he went to this guy's house and started, you know, rebuilding whatever. And now the guy works at a bike shop.
Look at that.
We had another participant who was at the skate shop, and they employ Gold Star kids. And he knew one of the Gold Star kids' dad, who passed away.
Yeah.
And now I guess they talk every week.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Now we're going back to some divine intervention crap, because this, dude, that carries stuff, man. That's awesome.
It does. Another person, he became the operations manager for one of the shops, and he loves his job.
Yeah.
And again, yeah, cool. You built something, that's neat, but that's not really the point. And we're winning a lot right now.
That's great.
And I like winning.
Yeah.
It's like, oh God, it's actually working.
Yeah, that is good. That's a good problem to be in, man, versus the other way.
And then they advocate, and they don't. And this is what I tell people. I don't want you to be exclusively tied to our nonprofit, because a lot of people, they're just tied to it. Nope, I can't get involved with this foundation or that foundation because this is mine. I tell people all the time, like, don't do that. If you know someone who's they're getting out, well, refer them to this organization, because they help with resume building and you know, professional development classes and all that. Like, I don't care. And so people are like more comfortable with that. And so they're not as guarded when they're like, hey, what do you do? I was like, oh, I run a nonprofit, you know, this and that. And you see, they kind of get a little weird. They're like, oh, and
you're one of those guys.
Yeah. It's like, man, I don't collect a paycheck. I'm not getting on those private planes to Vegas. And
what do you mean? You're not taking 90% of all the funding going straight to you, and then tell your donors like, hey, we're changing lives. It's just you with a wig. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm better now.
King of the castle. No, man, it's rough. There's many moments where I'm like, man, this is tough.
Yeah.
It's mentally taxing. And, you know, kind of going full circle, you have to protect yourself first. And my wife was the one that actually suggested that, you know, I take a little step back and focus on myself. A lot of people, guys like us, we want to give and help other people out.
Yeah.
But, you know, we take care of ourselves last.
Yeah.
So there are times when I'm like, oh, geez, this is coming up again.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man, I'm glad you're taking care of yourself, because you're able to take care of other people. So that doesn't go unrecognized. And I hope the world kind of opens its eyes to the good people out there, and hopefully, you know, can get behind what y'all are doing and what other organizations are doing as well. Like you said, man, people get caught up in like, what does this guy get? Like, we live in such a day and age where it's like, what is this person getting out of it? Can I trust them? Like, dude, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're looking for. I just want to help out. Go to somebody else. Like, what's good for you, that's great for me too, because I want you to be in a good spot.
A lot of people aren't used to that.
Yeah.
They're like, whoa, you want to provide something for me, but you don't want anything in return. And man, I've had to have some really tough phone calls with people who are just wasting my time.
Yeah.
And hey, signed up for this. Are you sure you want to do this? Yep, absolutely. Okay. No show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, like what? Oh, I don't know. Like, you know, I don't deserve this.
Oh, wow.
You're given, you know, you guys are going to provide this for me. And
they almost don't feel worthy or something.
All of the time.
Wow.
All of the time.
That happens a lot.
75% of the people that go through our programs are like that.
That's crazy.
An astronomical amount.
Wow.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, because you're there to help. And they're like, okay, because a part of them wants to go, and then they talk themselves out of it because they don't feel like they should just take something on out of the kindness of somebody else's heart almost.
Yeah. That's a whole nother animal.
Then where do they go? Then who do they turn to? You know what I mean? Then I hope they come back, and they're like, dude, then they probably don't want to come back because they feel bad about failing.
They get 2 chances from me.
Okay.
And after that, hey, I'm sorry. We can't help you. You're taking up a slot for someone who actually wants to participate.
Will show up.
And I will refer them to a handful of other organizations. It's just, you can't. And that's the thing, man. I guess the majority of Americans have this mentality of we need to help everybody out. And we need to force it into submission. Like, no, we're doing a good thing here. I need to force this person to get the good out of that. And you can't do that. And you can't save everybody.
Yeah.
You can't help everybody. Some people, they don't want help.
Yeah.
And so that's been eye-opening for me when I first started the organization, was putting up with that and going through that. And
yeah, that's a different side I didn't even think was going to come up.
Yeah.
To be honest.
It's crazy, man.
The world is a wild place, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's such a great program because Randy has never been in the military. That guy can connect so well with these service members and vets, and he truly cares, and he does this on the side for us because he gets so much value out of it. And Randy he's such a patriot and an amazing American. He wants to give back. He has directly seen the value through his hard work by building these surfboards. And it's typically a 4 to 5 visit build. And he will typically start with a 3D bay. And you design your board in that 3D bay. This is the size I want. And then he'll get the foam, and you start shaping the foam, and you do that glassing. We throw some logos on there, and just start to finish. He's there the entire time, and it's very therapeutic.
Yeah. No, I know. It sounds like Randy's got a heart of gold, man.
He does. He's a great guy.
To find somebody who can connect is such a valuable thing, because not everybody can do that, especially with everybody comes from different backgrounds, different experiences. To have that one guy who can relate to everyone.
And he can read these people too. And I think that a lot of these veterans, I think they actually confide in him more because he wasn't in the military. So they can talk about whatever they want, and they know they're not being judged.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, well, you messed up that. Like, I don't know if you're legit or not.
Yeah.
And man.
Yeah.
It's a good program.
That's awesome. I'm excited to get a taste, meet Randy, and kind of see the process and see, firsthand how it feels and what somebody going through the program, how they are going to take this on and what they're going to experience in their own way, of course, but just to get a taste,
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
It's going to be great.
So as far as the process goes, usually you have, you know, whoever's coming in, and they'll tell you kind of what they're looking for, what they want.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's like, hey, let's go. This is step one, right?
Yeah.
Here's the board.
Yeah, pretty much, man. We get to know each other over the phone, kind of talk about where they're at, you know, how much experience they have in surfing, you know, their height, weight, all that good stuff too. And then, you know, what kind of board they might be looking for or interested in. In this case, we're doing a 5'7" mini Simmons here. And again, I usually start cutting the outline to kind of cut the tension, ease them into it, get a good conversation going, talk about, you know, themselves, myself, get to know one another. That's what we're going to do.
Right. Just bro out. Just bro it out. Yeah, we can do that.
Sometimes this is going to be our outline, which allows us to do our template to get basically the basic outline of the board, which is pretty important.
Yeah.
You know, so basically you're just going to want to trace out the outline.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen is, as long as you just kind of try to keep a clean line as much as possible. So where are you from, man?
I am from Texas.
Oh, no way, man.
Yeah.
What part?
San Antonio.
Nice, dude. I've been out to Texas a couple times, like Midland.
Oh,
Out in
Midland.
the middle of nowhere.
Let's say, dude, that's...
Flatlands.
Enjoy that, dude.
Yeah.
Because I went to school up in the Panhandle
Yeah.
at Texas Tech. I started talking to one guy. He was like my mentor, right? I was like, what do you do? And he was like, I'm in the Navy. I was like, all right, well, what the hell do you do? And he told me, you know, he was a SWIC. Obviously, nobody has no idea what that is.
Right.
I didn't know what that was.
Right.
I was like, all right, I don't know what that is. I'll go check it out. Then we started talking. I saw it. I was like, dude, this is badass. I want to jump out of the plane. I want to go after this. This looks so cool, right? So he's like, yeah, man, you got it. So like he was always there for me. Then I, you know, signed up. I joined.
Was there a specific drive that made you want to do that?
I knew I wanted to push myself physically.
Yep.
I always played sports, you know what I mean? I love that camaraderie. Yeah, I was looking for that again because I was working in a cubicle too in Ohio for a little bit. I couldn't stand that life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, this isn't right. I went to college. I played the game,
Yeah.
and then for what?
Right.
So I could sit here and watch my soul die in the office.
Right.
Yeah, the biggest day that like of realization that hit me, I was sitting there, I was looking out the window of the office, and it was the lawn mowing company, right? These guys on lawnmowers just ripping around out there. I was like, I would rather do that for like half the cost of money I'm getting in for,
Right.
you know what I mean? I'd rather be out there.
It's quality of life.
Yeah, dude, sounds like something's off. It's not right.
Yep.
It's happy, man.
So can you grab the nose and
Yeah,
we're
I'll do
carefully just going to flip this guy over?
the old 1, 2, 3 pancake
1, 2,
flip.
3. There we go.
Just like that. We're going to try to
So, I
line it
mean,
up.
this kind of gives you an idea what we're looking at right here. Even on this side, kind of shows you your outline.
Yeah.
You know, the tail's coming
Dude, I
more
love
straight
that.
off.
Yeah.
Compared to that one, it's got more of like a hip that we talked about. So the first thing we need to do is grab this guy right here.
Did you, when you were first doing this, like, was it like everything was just, what came out was like, what is this? What did I create?
Yes, dude, my first
This is
board
wrong.
was, man, it was wonky. But I surfed it, and that was the coolest part. That is the coolest
And it worked,
part.
yeah.
The coolest part is like, oh, I'm taking a piece of foam, and I'm going to shape it into something, and then I'm going to go into the ocean
Yeah.
that is ever changing, and I'm going to ride a wave with it. And that is like the best feeling ever, man. I don't care who you are. If you make your own board and you go out and surf it and it works, it's, dude, there's nothing like it, man.
So did that for 8 years, man. Got out and, dude, I'm just finding my next path, you know? I mean,
right.
I work for a great company. Surprisingly, some
Yeah.
guys struggle with where they land, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, dude,
That's kind of why we're here to kind of help, you know.
you hear all these stories, right? And then, you don't even know what, like, civilian jobs are out there. And then how, like, what am I worth? You know what I mean? How do I set my value?
Right.
I think, my wife thinks I'm worth $1 million,
Yeah.
right? This company can only see me like, dude, this guy, I don't know, let's pay him $60K a year. Let's
Right.
feed him, you know what I mean?
Right. Another thing too is like, you know, when was the last time you had an interview? You know, like going from that. What was your transition like then? Was it pretty smooth?
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a family, right? I got 3 kids.
All right, on man. How old?
So I could lean on them 5, 3, and 1. They're young.
Hey, man.
But still, I was like, you know what, I can focus on that, right? And then still, I found myself dealing with some stuff that I didn't expect, right? Like losing community, losing my best friends, maybe purpose I struggle with a little bit, but I'm in a good spot, man. I really can't complain, to be
Awesome,
real.
brother.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you almost lose it, man.
It is, yeah. It gets a little tricky with the eyes. Well, how long have you been out now?
I think right around 7 months, man.
Wow. That's still pretty fresh then, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. But, you know, talking to Jordan, talking to like just random guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it restores your faith in humanity. And like, dude, they went some crazy path. Look at them and they made it.
Right.
They're still doing it.
Right.
They're in a good spot.
Right.
I'll be in a good spot. I just got to keep at it, you know?
Yeah,
just
absolutely,
stick with it.
man. Absolutely.
How did you find yourself doing this, you know?
So this started bored out of a trash can, honestly. And my buddy was throwing it away. I pulled it out, stripped the fiberglass, found myself in the backyard having a beer and just messing with it, you know? And then somehow this guy saw me surfing, gave me a business card, told me to come by and check it out. I did. He offered me an internship, jumped all over it. You know, fast forward 7 years later, I met Brian, special warfare operator in the Navy, and great guy, man. And Brian, every time we'd because Brian was always like, let's make a mission plan every week. We'd have this planned out, you know, how we were going to do things and this, that, and the other. He'd always say, Charlie Mike, man, Charlie Mike. I was like, hey, I like that. Like, continue mission. I dig that, man. And so when we started making our own boards, he's like, well, what are we going to call him? I was like, dude. You've been saying this every day, man. Like, there it is, you know? And that's how it started, man. And I feel like it fits, you know, perfect. We went for it, and that's when Jordan came by. And immediately when I met Jordan, just, yeah, man, it was just, you know, you could tell he had a desire to help and create something that was going to, you know, give an outlook for guys, you know, making the transition, and we were all about it, man, from day one.
Yeah, dude, he's got such a you could tell, you know, when he tells his stories, like the passion's there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Oh, absolutely,
like
man.
Somebody who cares genuinely. Yeah, you can see that.
It's hard to find. I'm honored to be a part of it, man. I've met a lot of great people. Yeah, this whole community is really has made me a better person, man. For sure. You know, meeting everybody, hearing their stories, and getting to know people on a personal level is just.
Do you think
great, man?
You know, because every guy has their own stories and experiences. Yeah. So you find you can relate to everyone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Find that common thread and just pull on it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, deep conversations, because I mean it's real. You know, there's real things to this. You know, there's real struggle. There's real. What's the word I'm looking for, man?
Just pain,
pushing through too. Like when I hear from one guy, he moved to the other side of the country, man. But we keep in touch, and not to reveal too much, obviously. But you know, there were some things going on that he was struggling with right at the beginning, and I remember having we just stopped shaping at one point and just talked for 2 straight hours, and it's just a beautiful transformation. You know, it's just surfboards here. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool to watch. It's very a beautiful thing to have on a human level, connecting with people and just, you know, full-heartedly being look, I care about you. Yeah, we definitely try our best to keep in contact with, you know, everybody after this too. It's not just hey, come shape a board, cool, see you later, let's get pictures, let's post, let's do all that stuff, you know. It's more this is the team, this is our community, this is what it's about.
Step one for more to come, dude. There's plenty more steps to go.
Yeah, I love it when guys come back, man. Some guys will just pop in at random and be like, Randy, what's up, man? I'm like, dude, yeah, it's cool, man.
How are you?
It's cool. The stoke is real, dude.
I love that.
Yeah. And now you just want to really, you know, see stuff like this. Yeah, just kind of even if you got to go up a little bit and then bring it back down. You're just looking to really just smooth it out.
Hey, Randy, man, Thanks again. And, you know, is there a way that we can get a hold of you or people can find you?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm on Instagram and Facebook under Charlie Mike Surfboards.
Awesome, man. I'll be looking for you there.
Cheers, brother.
Hell yeah.
Now when you get a sign, just send it. Full send, brother.
Full send signature?
Yep, just right down here.
I can do that.
Bingo.
Easy day. First of many. Man.
Yep. Dude.
Thanks, man.
I'm so stoked, bro.
Greatly appreciate it, dude.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for taking the time, you know?
Dude, absolutely.
Well, Jordan, thanks, man. I greatly appreciate you taking the time. And as far as people looking to get involved or just to reach out, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you and, you know, kind of see what you guys are doing?
They go to our website, salvageusa.org, and we've got a bunch of really good information on the website. We have an email up there, info@salvageusa.org, and they can hit us up.
Cool, man. Hey, like I said, thanks for your time. And, you know, it's great to see that people out there, you know, people in this world do care and they do want to make the world a better place and keep it turning in the right direction, man. So
there are a lot of good people out there. They're still out there. They're still out there.
I love it, man. Well, thanks again, dude. Can't
Absolutely,
thank you,
man.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Civvies, presented by MetroStar. If you want to learn more about Civvies or MetroStar, or just want to reach out, check out the links in the description. I'll catch y'all on the next one.